When did they finish doing the roof of the
Maintenance?
school? Yeah.
They accomplished just little bit, you know, to finalize the mud work, you know.
Yeah, the mud work and so forth.
Yeah.
We were here back in November,
Yes.
and it was about half finished. Now they're saying that it was totally finished.
Yeah, the roof is finished.
There it is, we can see it. This is where the school used to be, was under this tree.
Yeah.
Oh, yeah.
This was the...
That was several years ago.
Yes, 7 years.
I still remember that I came in a dress shirt. That was silly. Dress white shirt. And they all sat here.
Yeah.
And we were talking to them. And now today, they have wells and they have a school.
They have 4 classrooms.
I can see now, I can see that we did this whole side of the roof. And then part of the other side of the roof.
Not, yeah. And also little bit wide. They make it little bit bigger because it was before 3 classroom. It was only 3 classroom. Now they make it 4.
1, 2, 3, 4.
Yeah.
So this roof last fall in November was just open to the weather. There was no roof here. There was no metal. It was just open, and at that time, the city or the township officials asked us to spend about $2,000 and finish off the school. And this was the same school that we had previously invested in, but then the termites got it and it fell down. Then they built it up, and then we finished it. And so this is the roof, this side.
They ask you to donate them.
Yes.
To accomplish all classrooms, 4 classrooms.
Yes, the 4 classrooms.
Before ours it was 3 classrooms.
3, yes.
Now it's bigger than 1 more room. Because of that, it makes more budget, you know,
You're
for
saying
them.
That it costs them more,
Yeah,
a little bit more, and I know that they are asking us for a little bit more in order to replace their cost. So this was our investment.
Yeah.
This was the MJAA investment, as you can see with our sign.
2007.
We have been a part of this school since 2007. This is the only educational project we have put ourselves into, mainly because this is a Jewish village and a Jewish area. And there are others also here, Christians and Muslims, but this is really right in the middle of a Jewish area. And so we just decided to do it. Normally we do wells, water, the fresh water, which is so vital, and then also the medical clinics. But in this case, this was an exception. In 2007, we put $15,000 into the building, and we actually finished it. Yeah. But as you see, they end up using local materials and the cheaper materials, which are of course wood. And then they do a special mud, mix some straw and some mud. And so they were able to get it up and to educate all of their children. Unfortunately, the wood draws termites, and the termites ate through the building, and eventually it collapsed, so they began to build it. And then they asked us to finish the building. So that's what we did, and we committed to that. And so we continue our relationship as a community, as a Messianic community worldwide, with this one educational facility in the midst of the Jewish population here. So, Rekebna, why aren't there any desks in this room? We saw desks, which the MJAA bought years ago, in 2007, in the other classrooms, but here they are sitting on dirt and they're trying to learn. So what's the problem? Why don't they?
Because one extra class, they make large.
Oh, there's one more class.
One more class. Because of that, they don't have extra
desks.
desk. One desk may be 1,500 Ethiopian birr.
Per desk?
For 3, to seat.
Okay.
3 children.
3 children, I see.
Yeah.
Okay.
8.
Thank you all, partners. You are a part of this and bringing the next generation of Jewish youth in this country, keep them moving forward in their education. Thank you. welcome. Thank you all for coming tonight. This is a tradition. It's an MJAA tradition that we all meet and fellowship and talk about the clinics and just have a good time after the medical clinics the previous days. You all did a great job, really. You did an incredible job. Almost 2,000 people came through. It was a lot of work. We got home late, but God was blessed, I'm sure, and blessed many people there. And we saw some really incredible cases of very sick people on their deathbed, really. And God touched them and used you all in the process. So this is a thank you dinner for all of your time and your efforts and your great work. And we will do it again in 6 months, I'm sure. And just thank you all, and may God bless you all for your service, all of you here. All right, thank you, and God bless you.
Amen.
Now, let's have a good dinner together. Bon appetit.
I want to tell something about yesterday activity and the previous yesterday. That was the blessing activity which was yesterday. Besides this, I want to say thanks. God bless you. Thank you.
It was really a fantastic experience for me, helping people, being with you, helping really the needy one, helping those needy people in pain. Some were crying, some were very much in pain, being with them and sharing their feelings and helping them by what we have. It was really a fantastic experience for me, and I was really happy, and I would like to say thank you, God bless you. You really worked hard, and it's really amazing.
Before all, just we have to thank us to God and just plus the MJAA team, those who are helping these poor people, and also through the messenger of Joel. He came with us and just he went to the area with us, and just he saw even so many patients were served, they were getting helped.
This clinic was really very impressive. We served more than 2,000 people. From the previous times, as compared to the previous times, there was an increase of more than 500 people. So it was really a big blessing for us. With the help of God, we have helped so many people. We have treated some patients who are really on their day's bed. There is a patient that is operated in Gondar University Hospital after the clinic. And there are patients also that we have given IV treatments, intravenous treatments in France itself. So for me, it is really a blessing to be part of this, and I would like to thank the donors of MJAA and for Mr. Joel also, who was with us all the time, helping us, giving us strength. It was really very impressive. So thank God.
Shalom, everyone. Today I'm going to tell you a story about the Falashas, the Ethiopian Jews. In 1991, the regime in power was a communist regime, a very, very brutal one. And they were at the tail end of this regime. It was beginning to fall. The rebels were closing in. And they decided to cut a deal with the State of Israel. The State of Israel had for many years been trying to cut a deal with the government of Ethiopia, and they had been trying to facilitate the exodus of the Falashas, or the Ethiopian Jews. So finally, 1991, the Ethiopian Prime Minister decided to do it. The State of Israel cut the deal, and almost 15,000 Ethiopian Jews, the Falashas, boarded planes and left for Israel. And they came from all over the northern part of the country, Gondar, which is where this particular village is. And in fact, you will see, we are today standing in one of those very villages, Falasha villages. Look, here are Stars of David. Both of these buildings were a part of the synagogue of this particular village. Now you're seeing people here, but these are not the Jews. These are kind of actors in a play. This is a tourist area now. But at the time, this was all Jewish people, and these Jews left in 1991. They boarded a plane, they answered the call, and they flew back to Israel from this kind of a primitive setting into the modern state of Israel. In fact, why don't we go in and see what a vintage 1990s synagogue in Ethiopia looks like. This is a Falasha synagogue. The people were poor. This is very, very primitive. You can see up on the walls the blue stars of David are still here. They did try and decorate in the Ethiopian way. You see all the dotted motifs. That's actually an Ethiopian art form. And they would gather here and do their prayers and read the Torah and worship the God of Abraham, Isaac, and Jacob. This is the way that our people worshiped for hundreds and hundreds of years in Ethiopia. The Jews of this village have all left and have flown home to Israel. But there are still many Jews in Ethiopia. Some say upwards of 50,000. The question is, why are they still here? Now that story I am going to share with you in the next segment. This is the Falash synagogue outside of Gondar, and this is in a Falasha village, the Falashas being Ethiopian Jews. Now, all of the Jews in this area and in this particular village and that worshipped here on a day-to-day basis are gone. They flew back to Israel in Operation Solomon with 15,000 or so of our people. Now, there are two types of Falashas. There were the Otawi Falash over the centuries that actually believed only in the Torah, only the first 5 books of Moses. They knew nothing about the rabbinic faith, the rabbinic system. They knew nothing about the Talmud. It was just strictly the Torah. And then there were the Falash Mora, and the Falash Mora at some point were either forcibly converted to Christian faith or a belief in Jesus, or in the 1860s and 70s and 80s, they came to faith on a voluntary basis. Now, the only Jews left in this country are the Falash Mora, or the Jewish believers. Operation Solomon, the state of Israel figured out that there were 2 types of the Falash. They let all of the Otawi through, and only a couple of thousand of the Falash Mora, or the Jewish believers, made it through before the state of Israel slammed the door shut to Aliyah for them. They had sold all of their land. They're currently living in dire poverty, many of them under severe pain of death and sickness and persecution. For Christian anti-Semitism is alive and well here. And many of our people are suffering because they don't care if they are believers or not. They are Jews, and they're suffering. That's why God called us here today as a Messianic community. He spoke to me years ago and said, Joel, I want you, the Messianic community, to step into the gap for your Messianic Jewish brothers and sisters still here and suffering. No one else cares for them, but I care because they're suffering for my name's sake. And I'm bringing them from the 4 corners of the earth, including this corner. And though the state of Israel has turned their back on them, I am not turning my back on them. And so we stepped in and we began to minister to them and meet their needs with medical clinics and water wells and so forth. But ultimately, I know God is going to use us and perhaps many Christians to facilitate the final exodus of the Falash Mora, or the Jewish believers, to our own home, which is in Israel. And that's where you come in today. Will you stand with us? Here we're standing in Jewish ancient history. Help us make prophetic history. I know God's going to do this, and I'm passionate for it, and I know many of you are. Stand with us. It takes resources, funding for these clinics, working with the government of Ethiopia, and eventually the government of Israel. We need your help today and your support. Go to the MJAA.org website, and you can see how you can stand with this God-loved Jewish community here in this far-flung corner of the country of Ethiopia. God bless you, and shalom.